I've always been a night owl, so when I landed a job at Zaxby's, a prestigious restaurant with a reputation for gourmet fried chicken, I thought I'd hit the jackpot. Working the late shift meant I could avoid the rush hour and the chaos of daytime customers. But little did I know that my job at Zaxby's would become a nightmare unlike any other. It was a chilly autumn evening when I arrived from my first shift. The restaurant was nestled on the outskirts of town, surrounded by a dense forest that seemed to swallow the building in darkness. Zaxby's had an old-world charm to it, with its dimly lit interior and vintage decor. The dining area was filled with antique furniture and ornate chandeliers that cast eerie, elongated shadows on the walls. The ambience was meant to be cozy, but it felt more like a haunted mansion. My co-workers were a motley crew of individuals who seemed to belong in a different era. There was Sarah, a waitress with a penchant for dark, Victorian-style dresses, and Jake, the chef who always wore a bowler hat and a handlebar mustache. They were friendly enough, but there was something off about the way they spoke and moved, as if they were trapped in a perpetual time loop. My first few shifts were uneventful, filled with mundane tasks like taking orders and refilling drinks. But as the days turned into weeks, I began to notice strange occurrences that sent shivers down my spine. It started with the whispers. Late at night, when the restaurant was empty except for the staff, I would hear faint murmurs coming from the kitchen. At first, I thought it was just my imagination playing tricks on me. But then I saw the fear in Sarah's eyes when I asked her about it. "The whispers," she said, her voice trembling. "You hear them too, don't you?" I nodded, relieved that I wasn't the only one. We tried to ignore the unsettling voices, chalking them up to the creaks and groans of an old building. But the whispers grew louder, more insistent, as if they were trying to communicate with us. One night, as I was cleaning the dining area, I noticed a shadowy figure moving in the corner of my eye. I turned to look, but there was nothing there. It happened again and again, a fleeting glimpse of something lurking just out of sight. It was as if the restaurant itself was alive, its walls shifting and contorting in the darkness. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching me, following me wherever I went. I confided in Jake, hoping he would dismiss my fears as paranoia, but he just gave me a grave look. "It's been happening for years," he said, his voice low and somber. "The shadows of Zaxby's never rest." I wanted to quit, to escape the oppressive atmosphere of the restaurant, but I needed the job. Bills were piling up, and there were no other opportunities in sight. So, I soldiered on, my anxiety growing with each passing night. As the weeks turned into months, the restaurant seemed to take on a life of its own. Tables would suddenly wobble, chairs would slide across the floor, and dishes would crash to the ground without any explanation. The whispers grew louder, forming eerie chants that echoed through the kitchen. One night, as I was closing up the restaurant, I saw something that would haunt me forever. I was standing by the entrance, locking the doors, when I saw a shadowy figure emerge from the kitchen. It was tall and elongated, with long, spindly limbs that seemed to stretch and contort as it moved. My heart pounded in my chest as I watched it glide towards me, its movements unnatural and jerky. I fumbled with my keys, trying to unlock the door and escape, but my hands were shaking too violently. The figure drew closer, its featureless face inches from mine, and then it vanished, melting into the darkness. I stumbled out of the restaurant, gasping for breath, my mind reeling with terror. I knew then that I had to uncover the secrets of Zaxby's, no matter how disturbing they might be. I began to research the history of the restaurant, hoping to find some clue as to why it was plagued by these bizarre occurrences. What I discovered was a tale that sent chills down my spine. Zaxby's had once been a grand mansion owned by the wealthy Van der Linden family in the early 20th century. The Van der Lindens were known for their extravagant parties and eccentricities. They had a taste for the bizarre and were rumored to have dabbled in the occult. One fateful night, during a particularly decadent party, a fire broke out in the mansion. The flames consumed the building, trapping the guests inside. The Van der Lindens and their guests perished in the inferno, their souls forever trapped within the charred remains of the mansion. The mansion was eventually rebuilt as a restaurant, but it seemed that the restless spirits of the past still lingered, unable to find peace. The whispers, the shadows, the strange happenings, they were all manifestations of the tormented souls that inhabited Zaxby's. Determined to put an end to the haunting, I sought out a local historian who was well versed in the history of the Van der Linden family. He told me about a ritual that could potentially banish the spirits and free the restaurant from its cursed past. The ritual involved gathering a group of people at midnight, lighting a circle of candles, and reciting an incantation that would, in theory, release the trapped souls. It sounded like something out of a horror movie, but I was willing to try anything to rid Zaxby's of its malevolent presence. I enlisted the help of Sarah, Jake, and a few other brave souls who worked at the restaurant. We gathered in the dining area, surrounded by flickering candles, and began the incantation. The air grew heavy with tension as we chanted the words, our voices trembling with fear. Suddenly, the room grew cold, and the candles flickered wildly. Shadows danced on the walls, and a low, guttural growl filled the air. It was as if the very essence of Zaxby's was resisting our efforts. But we pressed on, our voices growing stronger, our determination unyielding. And then, in an instant, it was over. The candles burned brightly, and the oppressive atmosphere lifted. We knew, deep down, that we had succeeded. As the days passed, Zaxby's transformed. The shadows no longer lurked in the corners, and the whispers were silenced. The restaurant felt lighter, as if a heavy weight had been lifted. We had finally freed it from the curse of the Van der Lindens. I continued to work at Zaxby's, but it was a different place now. The eerie ambiance had given way to warmth and charm. Customers no longer felt the oppressive presence that had once haunted the restaurant. But I couldn't forget the horrors I had witnessed, the shadows and whispers that still haunted my dreams. Zaxby's was a place forever etched in my memory, a reminder that even the most prestigious facades can hide the darkest secrets. And so, I left Zaxby's behind, determined to move on with my life. But I knew that the shadows of that restaurant would always linger in the depths of my mind, a chilling reminder of the night I faced the unknown and emerged forever changed.